G'day guys, this episode is brought to you by Kratzmann's RV Super Centre out of Burpengary.
Burpengary, mate.
Mate, motorhomes and caravans, they're the only destination you need to go to. You don't need them. For 40 years,
One-stop
they've been
shop.
selling. That's it. And you say to me, you want to tow a caravan somewhere? I just say go to Kratzmann. That's it. Now listen, don't miss, we're getting to the end of the year, financial year, so you've got roughly 21 days till this end of financial year sale is over. So pull your finger out. Go out to Burpengary. Give them a call. Kratzmann's Caravan. Tell them you love Kevie, you hate Dobbo, but you love inside balls.
Inside balls to go.
Inside balls to go. And look, they will look after you. They've got the biggest ever sale taking place at the moment, up to $20,000 of some new and used caravans and motorhomes. Not all of them, but there is up to 20 grand of them. Go out there, give them a call. Burpengary's a destination. Kratzmann's RV Super Centre out there at Burpengary. The best caravans, the best motorhomes. Mate, why would you shop anywhere else?
Welcome to another edition of Inside Ball. We've got the round 15 review now coming up. Now, Dobbo's over in Perth covering the State of Origin 2 game. So we've got Darcy Gannon. Darce, welcome to the Inside Ball, mate. You've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for your opportunity.
Got the call up. Dobbo said I was off the bench, so I'm pretty pumped. I like to think that we're a bit like the 2020 Game 3 Origin side, you and I, Kev. You know, there's a few people that no one knows about and dubbed as potentially the worst team of all time, but
here we go, mate.
Brilliant.
Let's knock this over,
Yeah,
right? So you're in
excited.
control, mate. You take charge.
Beautiful. I'm big shoes to fill here from Dobbo, but we'll see what we can do. Mate, biggest thing that I want to talk about with you this morning off the back of the weekend, Adam Reynolds turning down a deal with the Tigers.
Yeah.
Looking like he's going to re-sign with the Broncos.
I think it's great news for Broncos and for Adam. It's interesting how he knocked back. It was upwards of $1 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I've read a few things. I don't know what's confirmed or what's not.
Just be like Dobbo and just make stuff up, mate.
Exactly,
That's
make
what
it sound
you
like I
do.
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I read that he's essentially going to be $1 million worse off to stay
Right.
with the club and stay loyal. So.
But I read somewhere as well that the club have to provide maybe some opportunities.
After his playing career.
Yeah. I think it's good news that Adam's staying at the Broncos. He's done a great job there in his time there, and to get an extra year for him and his family, I think it's a good move. But it does mean...
Yeah, I was going to ask, does it mean...
There are ramifications, aren't there?
Does the Broncos signing Adam Reynolds, does it mean they've shot themselves in the foot? Like, is there I hear this cap pressure, other players yet to be signed?
Yeah. Well, there will be ramifications, certainly. We do understand that they have, too many hookers on their books, so that would mean that someone would be squeezed out there, who that person is or who is identified to do that. We don't know. Selwyn Cobbo, it would mean it looks like he's going to be moving on anyway, but certainly now with Adam re-signing, that would squeeze him out as well, I would have thought, and possibly a couple of other fringe players. So it is a big call from the Broncos, but I guess they're looking to keep their captain at the club. He's been a good player there for 4 or 5 years now, and he extends his time. So well done to him. I think he'll do really well there with the Broncos.
As a Broncos fan, I'm thrilled. I did not want to see him go at all, especially to go and put in a jersey somewhere else. I know he's sort of born and bred at South Sydney, but I feel like he's a Bronco now. So.
Yeah, he looks good in the Broncos colours, doesn't he?
Does,
right from the time that we took that jersey to Sydney, for him to have a look at in that number 7 jersey, I think he does look good in it. He plays well in it, and the club really means a lot to him now, which it's a credit to him and the way he's handled himself. And he is a big part of their style of play that they play as well. Certainly from an attacking point of view, he does really, releases the likes of Ezra Mam and Reece Walsh. I feel that they play their best football when he's, playing his best football. And then, of course, you got Ben Hunt sitting there as well, which means where does Ben sit in all of this again? Because he's playing on next year. I believe he
re-injured back as well, won't he? Shortly, or
yeah. I think he'll come back in and possibly play in that hooking role somewhere. So that means that Billy or Pakesy or one of those boys gets the squeeze on them. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Very interesting. Talking about post-career stuff, I was keen to ask you about this as well. Obviously, the Broncos is a massive club. Do you think there's actually probably more opportunity being in Brisbane post-career to be working within a footy club than, say, if he was to go down to the Tigers?
Definitely. Certainly, at the Broncos, they're a big club. They've got lots of connections within their sponsorship decks. there's lots of opportunities. And even when I was coaching there, we had designs and future looking with Adam working with the halves in the academy stuff and all the junior programs that the Broncos run, getting him involved in those from a coaching perspective. I think that'd be a smart move, from the Broncos, because he's got so much to offer in that space about learning the game, and he's got every base covered as far as the number 7 jumper, as far as halfbacks go, with his kicking, his passing, his captaincy. All those things are really important. If you can transfer a lot of his knowledge into the next generation of Broncos players, it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, that's exciting as a fan as well to hear that he'll be there, sort of mentoring those boys.
Definitely.
That's awesome, mate. I don't know if you saw last night the lightning strike in the footy. Well, I don't know if there was a lightning strike, but I can't recall a game ever being...
Me either. No, it was amazing. 30 minutes the game, they sat in the dressing rooms, that'd be weird for a player. And I saw this morning, I watched Wayne Bennett's press conference. He didn't even go down.
I was going to say.
He stayed up in the grandstand.
What talked me through that?
Well, it would have been a psychological move from Wayne, because they were down 18-6, weren't they?
Yep.
He seemed pretty cranky. And I guess I've seen him do this before. At times in games at half time, he won't even go down. He'll just let the players sort it out. Yeah, stew and sort it out themselves. Because sometimes what a coach says at half time, the players, the good ones anyway, should already know, what they need to do to get themselves back in the game. And South weren't, to me, playing the game that they set out to play. They had some errors in their attack wasn't flowing. And I guess it's up to the senior leaders of that side to sort that out, which they did. After the rain, they were much better at South Sydney. So they got themselves together and they showed good leadership there among the playing group to fix it up. But it wasn't enough in the end to beat the Bulldogs, who won the game and won it. I thought they were always in control, the Bulldogs. They're having a good season, aren't they?
Great side, yeah. And Lockie Galvin on debut. I'm sure we'll get to that a bit later on.
Yeah.
Right, let's get into the footy, Kev.
Yep.
First game of the round, Sharks 30 defeated the Dragons 18.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, look, the Dragons, they started well. The first half, they were well and truly in the game, but then the second half sort of got away from the Sharks. Scored 3 tries in the second half to win the game. They come from behind the Sharks, and both teams pretty desperate to get a win. But I just think the Sharks probably had too much in the end, for the Dragons. It creates a bit of a problem for the Dragons. They need to. They've dropped out of the 8 now, and they need to start winning if they want to make some progress, into the back end of the season, into finals. I know that Novell Holmes, he was out. They've got a couple of injuries there as well, but the halves for the Dragons has been a big talking point.
Yeah, I saw Gordy on Triple M saying that it's either going to be Shane or Kyle, their job on the line for the Dragons. Obviously, father-son coaching. Talk to us about coaching Bill. There's probably not too many people who've had the privilege of coaching their son, but I'm sure there's plenty of challenges that come along with that.
Well, there certainly is, lots of challenges, but I really enjoyed. If you don't know and trust your own son, which for me was Billy, we were heavily scrutinised all the time, and I continually ask the right people who I trust and would tell me the truth, but about coaching your own son and whether or not he should be in the side or starting. There's all different scenarios, and I had full faith in everything that I did. Sort of wasn't just my decision solely; it was those around me that I trust and I know would tell me if, particularly from the senior players as well. They were very supportive of the decision. So, and then I guess it's up to the player himself to when he is selected, is to support that by playing well.
Yep.
I feel that Billy did that. If you, like I said earlier, if you can't trust your own son on things, well, who can you trust? And I thought that Billy had, when I was at the Broncos he's still playing good football.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's proved a lot of people wrong this year, especially without you there playing good footy.
Yeah, he's got some really nice skills, a skill set to his game. He's got a nice kick in him. He's kicked a couple of 40.
He loves a 40-20.
Loves it, yeah. So that's a good asset for the Broncos to have when you've got a dummy half who can kick 40-20s. I also think sometimes, and I remember talking to Craig Bellamy about Billy when he first arrived at the Broncos, and about Billy not believing in himself as much as he should. Sometimes that can happen with players, that they're actually better than what they give themselves credit. That's a positive. Some players, they think they're a lot better than what they actually are, but and some which is a harder ones to coach. But the ones like Billy, who really the talent is there. You just got to try and bring it out and give them confidence to bring out their talent, which Billy's doing now. So I love coaching all my kids. I've coached my kids at different levels, from park footy, from under sevens, right through into the NRL, which is very fortunate for me. Obviously, I love coaching, but particularly special when I remember that grand final. The 23 grand final that week was really special from a coaching point of view, and also for the Broncos point of view, but also having Bill in the side. I remember my last grand final in 2000, and all my kids were there, and Billy ran on the field and then up getting the trophy.
I think I've seen a video of him with his hands over his ears. That's Jet, right?
Yeah, Jet got a bit sick of the Broncos song, which I don't know why he would, but so it's a real privilege, But there are. It can be a dangerous world. We've seen Nathan and Ivan Cleary. Well, that's obviously the dream combination. They've won, premierships together. Martin and Johnny Lang won a premiership together, at Penrith in 2003. But Kyle and Shane Flanagan, they're under the pressure now as well, and I'm sure that they'll sort it out because when you're in that position, you've got to put the team first. What's best for the team, and I'm sure they'll sort out. And that may be that Kyle still, is in the side and plays his best footy because he has been playing some nice football. So, I guess the only way to answer the critics as well is by winning, playing well and winning.
Good footy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yep.
Definitely a tough spot for the Raiders. I feel like that whole section of the table is quite congested, but get to that. I've got a few notes down for the Dolphins game in a minute, but the mighty Titans 28 beating Manly 8.
Yeah, great win for the Titans. They really needed this win a lot of pressure on the club at the moment through their lack of wins, but it was a nice win. Bit surprising, really, because Manly...
I heard they were unaffected. The first time they've been unaffected in Origin period for years
since 2015. Yeah, so, you expected probably a little bit more from Manly, but let's give the Titans some credit. Campbell and Brimson, AJ ran for 247 metres, 17 carries, and I'm not really a stat man, but that's an incredible effort from AJ to do that. So... hats off to him. Bo Fermor as well played really well. I mean, he only had 15 minutes at the back end of Origin 1. He wanted to prove to the selectors that he was a good player, and he certainly showed that, on the weekend. The try scorer he did, Olakau'atu.
Yeah.
Those little things in games are huge, and it was a big try saver from him. He ran for a lot of metres as well, and he's good to see him back. Tough week for DCE.
Very tough. I was going to ask you about that. Everyone was probably, I think even Dobbo and yourself last week were saying you're expecting him to stand up after...
Well, he played okay in the game for Manly, but it would have been a tough week for him being omitted from the Queensland team. He was a captain of that side, so it would have been a tough week for him. I thought he played okay in the game. Him and Tom Trbojevic, they did their best, but unfortunately it wasn't quite enough to get the win against the Titans, who were pretty desperate after a poor showing against the Broncos. They bounced back well, the Titans. Maybe they can get on a bit of a streak here.
Well, it's good to see him get behind Des and the club. And that injury for Olakau'atu, just talking about that try saver, looks shocking as well. He looked to be in a bit of pain.
Yeah, he was in a lot of pain, wasn't he? They get scans on him over the weekend. We'll find out today, I guess, how long he's out for. An indefinite period. It won't be 2 or 3 weeks. It'll be longer term. So that's a big blow for Manly. That might be their season. I don't know. They don't have a lot of depth in the back row position. So, tough times ahead for Manly. I reckon does.
But good on the Titans. Hopefully they get a head of steam
good on
up.
the Titans.
Yeah, we love the Titans here. The next game we saw the Roosters 12 defeat the Knights. Now, talk to me about this striker.
Well, what are you thinking? Well, from a fan perspective?
And this is going to sound bad, I couldn't care less about the Knights or the Roosters. I'm a Broncos diehard, so I'm not looking at it through, Roosters coloured glasses. I think it was a try. I think he's missed it with his hand, which makes it look worse.
Yep.
But he's placed the ball with his forearm.
According to the rules, it's a try.
Yeah.
And that's all the bunker can go on. Now, there was a lot of talk, on lots of footy shows and the like on whether it was a try or not. Technically, it was a try. And for mine, you want to give the benefit of the doubt to the attacking team and to the try scorer because we want to see tries scored. Now, if you slow things down and, there's lots of things you can pick up and many reasons not to give it a try, but come on, it's footy. We want to see tries scored. It was a great kick, wasn't it? Little kick through from Tedesco. Brilliant stuff from him. And then Siwa Wong just did the rest. And he got enough pressure down for it to be called a try, and it was, rightly so.
I think if the ball's stationary and he reaches out and puts his forearm on it, there's no one questioning it. Just the fact that I think it looked like he was trying to grab it and missed it, but he still got it down.
Well, he did miss it, yeah. So, but it was a try. And by the rules, it was a try, and it was a timely one for the Roosters, because if they lost that game to the Knights, wow. I mean, there's still plenty of football left in the season, but it would have put them in a very awkward position on the ladder. So it was a good win for the Roosters. Victor Radley, too, got HIA'd again.
Yeah, jeez. Feel sorry for Victor.
Yeah, so he might have to have a lengthy spell out of the game. I'm sure the Roosters medical staff will do the right thing and look after Victor in the right way, and certainly Victor would feel that way as well. I'm not sure what the future looks like for Victor at the moment, considering what happened to him again on the weekend. It was a pretty simple blow that he took. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see or watch this space for when Victor returns playing for the Roosters.
Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yep.
Mate, the mighty Dolphins, 58. It's a shame it had to be against another Queensland club in the Cowboys, but 58-4 over the Cowboys.
Now, I know we got our Kratzmann player on the move. This is the Kratzmann team on the move,
Big
the
time.
Dolphins.
My first note here is how good are they? Like, how good are they going?
Sensational. They just pulled apart, didn't they? The Cowboys. I know the Cowboys had some players out and they lost Tolmalolo in the warm-up with a calf strain, but gee, they were very impressive. Jack Bostock, he's our Kratzmann player on the move.
Yeah.
4 tries, should have had 5. He just couldn't quite grab the last one.
He was trying to count him out on his hand again.
Well, he put the big 4 up, didn't he, for 4 tries, which is a great effort. And Herbie Farnworth's going well. Mate. The halves are playing some.
Nickarima's almost born again. He's playing some of the best footy I can remember him playing.
Yeah, well, Katoa is unlocking Nicarima. That's the key to it all, because Katoa's on the ball. He's doing all the ball playing, all the setting up, and Cody's just playing, and that's what he's very good at. He can find space. He's a tricky little bugger on the field. He's got good movements. He's very smart with his passing and his handling. His kicking game as well. They're scoring tries off his shorter kicking game. So, yeah, they're in great touch, the Dolphins. And not just this week. Last week they put the Dragons to the sword, didn't they?
I've got here they've scored 158 points in the last 3 games.
There you go. Well, that's telling me the team that's in sync and believing in themselves, all doing this without some of their key players, their key forwards.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, like a few injuries here and there for teams. Like Dobbo last week on the show talked about who the Dolphins are missing. Like, it's massive that they are getting wings like this. And I wanted to ask you, Kev, I saw the boys at the races actually last Saturday after their big win against the Dragons. And it just looks like they're having the best time. They're all there. Looks like they're best mates on the field last night. They're every tackle, every hit up. They're all behind each other. Like, does that play a big part in the team's success?
It's a huge part of a team, is that gelling, enjoying each other's company. Rugby league, believe it or not, Dust, it's meant to be enjoyable. That's why you play the game, is to have some fun. I'm sure you're the same with your teammates, with your mates. It's no different in the professional arena with the NRL. If you're not enjoying yourself and having fun, you're not going to get the right results or the right rewards. And I agree with you, mate. You can see it. It stands out when teams are, enjoying each other's company and having some fun. It transfers, onto the field. And you saw them at the races. Well, they were no different the other night up in Townsville. You see all the joy and the excitement they have about playing the game. That's what I like about the Dolphins. They look to be really enjoying themselves. And I know it's the scoreline blew out, but they were switched on from the get-go. So they're a team on the move, certainly. They're a team that can make the 8.
I was going to say, how good do you think they can be?
I think they're sitting in 6th at the moment. I can see them even climbing a little bit higher than that. But they've got to continue to play the football they are. They are playing, which is put them into position now. They're the best performing Queensland team.
They've got to be the best Queensland side in the comp at the moment.
Well, they are. At the moment, they certainly are, and they're outdoing the Broncos, certainly, who are still in the 8 now, the Broncos, with their bye over the weekend, elevated them into the 8. But if you look at the 2 clubs, certainly the Dolphins look like the team that's going to do really well this year. The Broncos can still get themselves back into contention, I believe. And also, the Cows will gee, that was a bad loss for them. Anyone that loses by that much has got to do some soul searching. I know that their Origin players were missing, but gee, that's a big loss. And it was good to see the Titans get a win as well. So interesting finish to the season for our Queensland clubs.
Yeah, I was having a look last night at the table. The Finns and the Dolphins, the Dolphins and the Cowboys are only one competition point separating them, but the Dolphins now have the second best for and against, and their for and against is 250 points different to the Cowboys.
Right. Well, that can be the difference in the end.
And I was going to ask, given how congested sort of the bottom half of the top 8 is, do you think that's going to be...
Oh, yeah, it's huge. That's like winning another game, elevating yourself 2 points ahead. And that's a big for and against lead for them to have, which will be really important at the back end of the season. It might mean they can finish as high as... may not even get in the top 4 with that sort of margin, although I think the top 4's probably settled for the year with, Bulldogs, Raiders, Storm,
Warriors,
and the Warriors. Yeah, that's. I don't see that changing too much, but it's a big scramble for the bottom 4 in the top 8, and that's where I see lots of movement and lots of teams that are scrambling to get in. The Titans could still get in if they get on a good run and start winning some games. They could still make the 8.
Yeah, big time. Moving on to the next game, the Doggies 24 defeated South Sydney 18. Mate, the one thing I wanted to ask you about this game, did you see Jake Turpin's haircut?
Yeah, I did. Oh, I loved it, mate. The boy from he's from Boona, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Jake, and he got in a bit of trouble too. He got 10 in the bin but I loved. He's a real he's a man's man, Jake. I coached him at the Broncos, and you could just see he was loving being part of the NRL scene again, and loved his haircut. He's a good fella, Jake, and it's good to see him get some game time. Bulldogs are pretty impressive side, aren't they?
Yeah.
Good depth in their squad. They missed 4 or 5 players because of Origin and injuries and suspensions, but they still came up with the goods. Lockie Galvin, I thought his connection in the halves was really good. I think, it was a luxury for the Bulldogs to miss Wade. Matt Burton was out through State of Origin. He's the 18th man for New South Wales, but to slide Lockie Galvin in there, and Kickow was really strong as well. That was across the board. They didn't have a bad player really, and it would have been tricky as well having 30 minutes off. While the Storm rolled its way through a core stadium. It was.
What do you do there? Do you try and stay warm, or?
Well, you just got to rest first, and put your mind at ease, and stop thinking about the game. Reset, because both teams obviously have got to go through it. I think South used their time pretty wisely as well, because they made a bit of a comeback after the rain, and they were a much better team because of that. But yeah, the Bulldogs are always in control, and I like what they're doing. The Bulldogs, they just continue to win well. They're defending well, and they got great depth in their roster as well. So. Good to be one of the teams to beat the Bulldogs.
Yeah, scary time to be an opponent of the Bulldogs.
Well, their fans too are getting behind them. They're loving it. The enjoyment factor for them with the team doing so well and winning. What have they lost 2 games all year? One against the Broncos and one. I forget who the other one was, but they've been very impressive.
I think the Bronx have got them in a few weeks as well coming up. So.
Yeah, I think without their Origin players. That's leading into Origin 3, so we won't really get a good idea or good. Sort of ruling up on that one without the Origin players being available.
We'll just hold the early win over them then for the season, mate.
That's it, mate. Well, that was an impressive win by the Broncos.
Big time.
So if they can, get back to that sort of form, they can give it a real shake as well.
100%. Looking at Origin Wednesday night, big game.
Yeah.
You mentioned Matt Burton there. Of course, Mitch Moses ruled out. Jerome Luai straight into the side. Were you surprised that they didn't give Burton in the halves?
No, I think Burton is a good 18th man. He's there, for the HIAs if someone gets eliminated from the game, so he could cover every position in that back line, which I think is the smart move to do from Laurie Daly. And Luai, his combination, with Nathan Cleary is beautiful. They've won 4 premierships together. I think they have played Origin together, but this will be the first time that they can be reunited. And I think it will really unlock Luai. He was very good in Game 3 last year. Of course, Mitchell Moses was the halfback in that game, but with those two together, it's a very dangerous combination. Along with the other, with Edwards and Yeo and Martin, that's all the bros back together.
Yeah,
They're,
the Panthers connection.
Panthers connection, which is a dangerous sign, for Queensland. But I believe we can win game 2, Das. I think we've got to start well. I know we've got to start well, particularly with our forwards. If you cast your mind back to game 1, that first set, New South Wales rolled over us and they got it, over halfway, which it's not a good start. We've got to fix our defence up. If we are kicking off or whatever it is, we need to get our start right, get ourselves into the game and let New South Wales know that we're not to be toyed with and messed with. I believe we can do that. Billy's made some changes to the team, which I think will help. I think Tom Dearden at 7, he'll bring a lot of energy, a lot of strike to our side. And our middle forwards need to just get their job done, not be over the top, just get their job done, carrying the ball forward in pairs together, making that yardage stuff work. And then defensively, just being nice and solid and stable through there. If we can just do that, our middle forwards, we've got enough strike there to score points and score enough points. I think 18's probably the margin we need to get to from a attacking point of view. I think we can win this game like 18-12 or 18-14. I think it'll be a tight game, but Queensland will win.
And obviously game 2 over in Perth, Queensland don't have the greatest record over there.
No, I've coached one game over there. Tommy Travojevic destroyed us over there one year, and it was a couple of years ago as well. We got beaten quite convincingly. So I think they left on Friday, the Queenslanders, to get over there and acclimatise. I've had a couple of conversations with Al Flanger, who's part of the staff over there. He says everything is going well and they're happy with what they're doing. The Queenslanders, I believe, will fight back. That's the Queensland way. And maybe New South Wales be a little bit complacent. That can happen. They've had a couple of changes to their side, with Mitch Barnett out and Moses out. So that's a little bit of a disruptor. And, boys, kick the ball to Spencer.
Yeah.
Kick the ball to Spencer.
Someone smash him, please.
Well, mate, we've got to fight fire with fire.
Yeah.
We've got to take the challenge on, take it front on. I'm sure Lindsay Collins and Mo and Tino, they'd love that stuff, mate.
They've been going to sleep all week thinking about it, I reckon. Just the first, Spencer's first carry.
Spencer's first carry. Let's go, boys. Look, everyone's talking about it, so it's got to happen, Daz.
Yeah,
it's got to happen.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen this, but have you heard about Cam Munster's boots that he's been wearing over there?
No, I haven't.
There's a promotion they've done with Forex,
right.
And they've used soil from Rockhampton, his hometown, in his Puma boots, so he's going to have the home ground advantage over in Perth.
Oh, how clever. How clever. Well, that's great for Munster too, because he's the captain of our side now, so he needs to lead from the front. And look, he's such a great player at this level, Cameron, even in the NRL. His skills are very dynamic, very unique. He needs to bring all of that, over. I hope he's packed all of that over to Perth, as well as his boots and the soil, because what sort of boots does he wear? Is it Pumas?
The Pumas, I think, yeah.
Righto. Well, I'm expecting a big game from Cameron without putting too much pressure on him. But all he just needs to play his natural game, and that'll be fine for Queensland. The other guy I'm tipping to fight back and well is Harry Grant.
Yeah.
Unfairly criticised. What's it? 4 times he started for Queensland and 4 losses. That's just bullshit stats.
Yeah.
Pardon my language there, but that's just garbage. He is the best hooker in the world, Harry Grant, and we'll see that on Wednesday night when he gets creative and he's such a threat out of there. Again, back to our forwards, they need to create some opportunities for Harry. Quick play the balls, he'll jump out and create stuff. We saw he won a game for Queensland, coming off the bench by that work around dummy half that he does. He's a brilliant player, and we'll see that from him on Wednesday night.
They talk about the Origin stats, but they fail to mention all his Storm stats where he goes all right out there. So, yeah,
mate,
I'm with you.
Yeah, he's the captain of the Storm and plays such good footy. So look for him to explode as well on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited. Expecting a big game from the boys. Now, we did talk about Jack Bostock before, player on the move.
Yeah.
Thanks to Kratzmann, their end of financial year sale is on now. You can save yourself up to $20,000 $20,000 out at Burpengary.
Righto.
So
we'll get out there and spend some money, guys.
Get out there like Jack. He's on the move for sure. Kevie, to finish, we've got a couple of questions.
Well, how did we go with our betting? I
don't think we did well. I'll have to go back and check. There was because Dobbo included Scotty Drinkwater in the Cowboys game, and he's pretty much the only one who didn't bloody score a try that game. So.
Yeah, they got one try, the Cowboys, but it wasn't scored by
No, it wasn't Drinky.
So we failed again. We'll just keep going at it.
I'll put something together for Thursday and see how we go.
Mate. Yeah, see how we go.
The pressure's on. I'll see if I can
Four-leg multi.
Four-leg multi. I'll see what I can do. I'll start crafting it when I go home today.
No, dust.
Mate, this question comes in from Tony from our Instagram. If you have any questions for Kev each week, keep an eye on Instagram. Also, you can drop them in the comments on YouTube. Do you think the Dolphins can keep this form going?
I do. I've been really impressed by what they've done, particularly without some of their key players. Max Plath's been out. Diafiti's not playing.
Gilbert,
and now
Flegler,
and now Kafusi, he's going to get a bit of a stint on the sidelines as well. But I just think that they're in great rhythm. As you said, they're enjoying themselves. They're enjoying their footy, which is coming through in everything that they do, whether it's in defence, or attack. So, yeah, I think they can get on a good roll here, the Dolphins, and really start climbing that ladder. Maybe get into 5th position or fourth even. But yeah, they're playing some good footy.
Anywhere in the top 8, but 4th or 5th would be a massive result for the Finns, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be huge. Yeah, considering when Wayne Bennett has left clubs in the past.
And all those injuries you've
and
just
the
rattled
injuries,
off.
rattle off some of their best players not having a big influence over the season. It's been a huge effort from them. But we're 15 rounds in. We've still got another 12 rounds and then finals. So there's lots to work on for the Finns. But I'm really happy for the direction they're taking.
And I think we've covered this one off, but what is the biggest strength or change in the Dolphins game recently?
It's been Katoa. Their halves, certainly. Katoa and Nikorima have been brilliant. Just the way they set up their attack. It's well planned, it's well executed. And the strike they have too with Farnworth and Hammer didn't even play on the weekend. Jack Bostock's had a great season. He's gone from winger of the week to the player on the move, mate. He's killing it. Well, some of his tries, that one he nearly went out on one of them, on the weekend, but he managed to stay in. So those crossfield kicks, he's very good in the air as well. So he's normally got a big height advantage over most of his opposition, and the Dolphins have been using that to their advantage, which is play to your strengths, which they're doing.
Do you think, I was meant to ask you this earlier, but do you think Cody Nikorima must owe Herbie Farnworth some money or something? Did you see him pass that ball to him over the try line?
Yeah, I did. I'm not sure what that was all about. Maybe we can find out from Herbie or Cody. They can let us know. But yeah, it's a dangerous practice that. The coach wouldn't have been too happy with that, because if Herbie just spilt it, or there's a player coming from somewhere where they can't see, dangerous moves, boys. What's the old golden rule? What do you
put the ball down?
As soon as you get over the line, right, your priority is to get that ball down. And maybe if you can run it around and improve it and help for the goal kicker. But, that's a no-no what he did, Cody. Get that out of your game, mate.
Last question here. I don't know what game this is in reference to, but at what point do the NRL stop having games in 80,000-seat stadiums with 5,000 attendance?
Yeah, well, that's probably not up to the NRL, up to the clubs. And, I think I'm not sure which game they're referring to here, but I think the crowds have been good this year. It's tough when you do the draw, and that Accor Stadium's a big stadium, and sometimes you don't get the numbers through that they like. So I guess it's up to the clubs to identify those games and those rounds where possibly they mightn't get such a bigger crowd. And like the Bulldogs, for instance, they've taken a couple of games back to Belmore, which I think is great, that connection with the community. But also they've had some big crowds this year, the Bulldogs, 60 and 70,000 plus. So it's up to the clubs, I think, to get their smarts around who they're playing and the opposition, and go from there.
Righto, that's pretty much us for the
day. Is that
it
for us, eh?
What do we
no Dobbo, no worries.
What about Wednesday? What's happening Wednesday? Who we got?
Wednesday,
special guest?
Yes, the last couple of weeks we've had some older Broncos players. This one is he's still playing, this guy. He's still playing rugby league.
Still playing footy, yeah.
Maybe not in the NRL, but he's still playing rugby league.
There you go.
And he's a great little fella.
Yeah, let us know who you think it's going to be in the comments. Have a guess. I think I know who it is, and it's exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. This guy's a great fella, great footballer, and we'll find all about him on Wednesday. Yeah,
we'll be back Wednesday with a guest episode, and then Thursday for an Origin recap and the preview of round 16.
That's it, Das. Here we go. No Dobbo, no worries. See you guys.